Hi and welcome to the beginner's guide of how to use Flux Dev on replicate.com. Now if you're unsure about how to use Replicate or how to get set up, I'll put a link in the description box below to a tutorial I've previously created. So once you're in replicate.com, the easiest way to access all the Flux models is to go to the search bar at the top and start to type in Flux, and you can either click on use the Flux family of models at the top, or you can keep scrolling down and pick them individually. So if you click on the top option, it's going to bring up a grid view here, which could be a bit overwhelming at first because there's lots of different models and different use cases here, some like control net type things, but we're just interested in the main model here, so Flux Dev. Okay, so now we're back in our main view, and I'm just going to go over the options very briefly here. We're going to run an image just to show you how it works, and then in separate mini bite-sized tutorials I'm going to come back and go through all of these parameters and preferences just on their own and show you some of the variants that we can do. So for now, let's just go down and look at the first option, which is a prompt box, which is where we type in approximately what we want it to generate. So this is where we type in what we want to make essentially. And aspect ratio underneath, this is us choosing the shape of the output image, with 1:1 being a square, 16:9 being a widescreen option, etc. The image field is where we can drag in an external image, whether it's been AI generated, a photo or a drawing, even a sketch, which we can use as a reference to help with composition and things like that, to help guide our generation. And the prompt strength below correlates directly with that image option. So if you're not using an image reference, then you can ignore this prompt strength box completely. Number of outputs below is simply how many images are generated at one time every time you click the run button, with a maximum of 4. Number of inference steps, think of this as kind of like a quality slider in the sense that you're telling it how long to take generating your image, how many steps you're giving it to sort of get the image to where you want it to be. Now the default value is 28, which I think is quite good. I normally stick between late 20s and kind of 35 as a rough guide. If you go much higher, you could get more detail in your image, more small detail, but it will be slower and potentially cost more. And if you go too low, then the image will be super quick to generate, will cost you less, but at the detriment of the potential quality of the image. So it's up to you to find a balance, but I find the defaults on Replicate to be generally a great starting point. Guidance value here. Now, the discrepancy I have here is it says 3.5 in the box, but underneath it says default 3. And for me personally, the default value of 3 is more what I would start with. So just something to bear in mind. There's no right and wrong to this, but I would start at 3. And without getting into too much detail, in essence, this is a balancing slider between lower values giving you more realistic results, more photographic results potentially, but at the sake of contrast, color, and creativity, and higher values giving you the ability for it to stick more to your prompt. So if you're asking for more sort of fantasy elements or unrealistic elements like sci-fi, glowing lasers and that kind of thing, then you're more likely to get what you're asking for by having a higher guidance number. However, the higher you go, the more saturated, the less realistic and the more cartoony the overall look will be. So again, this is a balancing act, and I think 3 is a great starting point for general images. Seed, this is where you can add a value that's either provided once you generate an image, or you can just enter one just arbitrarily, and you can then keep that seed in place and then reiterate different prompts based on the same seed, and that will just help to keep the generations a little bit more consistent. If you don't have the seed value in here, it will just generate a completely random image every time, obviously based on your prompt and settings. Output format, WebP, JPEG or PNG. Very simple, just pick which one you like. And the output quality slider just directly relates to the quality of that saved file, nothing to do with the original AI image generation. So just like in any sort of image editing software, when you save your file, you get to choose a quality, like a JPEG quality or whatever. It's just the same thing here. Disable safety checker, just leave that alone. It doesn't really have any relevance on this particular usage. Go fast option, this is on as a default, which I agree with. It basically activates a slightly more optimized version of the Flux Dev model that is faster, therefore a little bit cheaper than it would be otherwise, and potentially slightly worse quality with slightly less prompt adherence, I think, but my own testing, my sort of unscientific testing behind the scenes has really found no notable difference between it. So it's on as default, and I would recommend leaving it on unless you have a specific reason not to. Underneath that, we've got megapixels, and I would just leave this as 1 because the other option is just generates an image that's far too small for any real world use. And then for our parameters, that's it. And then it's a case of either clicking run to generate what you've requested, or click reset if you want to make the rest blank and start again. Now, before I generate a test image here to show you, I'm just going to go down because there's some very important information underneath this. And there's a few example images here, but this is the key we want to look at. Whenever I go into a model in replicate.com, I come straight down here and see how much the images are, roughly how much does it cost per generation, or here, how much per dollar. So it says with Flux Dev here, you get approximately 40 images for $1. Now that's based on the default values. So for example, if we were to come up and we change the number of inference steps from 28 all the way up to 50, we might get a lot more detail in our image, but also it's going to be longer, therefore the cost will be higher than listed below. And the same thing if we went the other way and we took it right down, the quality would be lower, but it would be probably cheaper than the price listed below. So just bear in mind, those guide prices are based on the default values, unchanged. So what I'm going to do now, I've just got a simple prompt on my other screen. I'm just going to copy it and I'm going to paste it into the prompt box, and we're just going to run this as a quick demonstration. And I've just got a little typo here I'm just going to correct. So very simple prompt. I'm going to choose the aspect ratio of 3:2 because that's just what I like for this. No image reference, so I'm going to leave that blank. I'm going to let it generate 2 images at once. I'm going to leave everything else at the moment as the defaults. And I'm going to click run. And I'm not going to skip any time. Now we're going to see in real time how quick this is to generate, because you'll be surprised at how fast this is. This is using cloud compute power and not your local machine, so it doesn't matter how slow your PC or your Mac is, this will generate in super quick time. So there we go, we've got 2 results come up straight away. You can click the download button here underneath and it will download them. If you've got more than 1 image, it will download them as a compressed zip file with both of them inside. You can also report it if you get some kind of either corrupt image out, or like an unsuitable image that you shouldn't really be seeing. If there's any kind of adult content creeping in that shouldn't be there, you can click report and do the right thing and inform the team that there's something going on. Or you can share your settings, share your results, and tweak it. Just goes back and lets you edit your current settings. So the only thing I want to show you now before we call this beginner's overview done is where you get the seed from. So we mentioned the seed value earlier, and it's underneath here in this log section. So it's like you can just highlight it, and then you can make a note of it. You can copy and paste it back into here, but we'll go over that specifically in the seed tutorial video, but I just wanted to show you there where you actually access that from. So that's it for the beginner's tutorial on Flux Dev, and so I look forward to joining you again where we're going to go through all the elements one by one in their separate mini tutorials and go into a little bit more depth on all of them.